Hello friend, Jim here with JB's Big Adventure coming to you from Lake Chapala, Mexico. I'm excited to be sharing with you today's subject and video, and basically it's talking about the culture shock that we basically experienced when we actually first moved to Lake Chapala. Now, some of these things I'm going to share with you, I've actually kind of mentioned a little bit in other videos. But what I want to do is I want to kind of point out some of the things that might be of help to you, that might be something that you'd never thought of, that's something you might want to look into, do a little bit more research into it. But let's start with the first one. Being from the States, when we are actually growing up, when we reach age 15, 16, what we do is we get a driver's license and we start driving. And what we do is we learn the laws of the road. Now, what is interesting here in Mexico is that a red light, a stop sign, basically are only suggestions. The traffic laws in Mexico are a lot different than what those of us in the States are used to. As a matter of fact, you can see individuals that will pass you up on the left side, they'll pass you up on the right side. You'll have a motorcycle cut in front of you or pass you up on the left or the right side. You might be at a stoplight and end up finding that somebody goes ahead and makes a turn that shouldn't be. So the traffic laws here are quite different, quite unique, but we still need to make sure that we do what we do in the States and try to respect all the traffic laws that we possibly can. Remember that when we're in Mexico, we're here as visitors. We are not here as naturalized citizens or anything, so we need to learn the laws of living here. In that, another culture shock can be the Spanish language. It doesn't matter if you're asking for directions, or you're ordering a meal, or you're trying to ask a question to somebody else, and they're talking back to you in Spanish. Again, we're in a different country. We can't expect them to learn our language. We need to be a bit more willing to learn their language and really try to communicate. But when you're not accustomed to that, and you come to Mexico, I just want you to know there can be a huge culture shock, because here the Spanish language is spoken. Now, here's another thing that can be a real culture shock, and that is, in Mexico, it's kind of like a 365, 24/7 party. There's a lot of celebrating that takes place here in Mexico. It could be at 10 o'clock at night. It could be at midnight. It could be just after that. And you might hear fireworks going off. You might hear a band or a mariachi group playing music. You might hear of a parade going down the road. And it could be at all hours of the night. You might hear roosters or dogs barking. So part of the culture here in Mexico can be is some might see it as being a bit noisy. And I just want you to realize again that we're in Mexico. So in Mexico, there's things that are done here. But it can still be a culture shock of thinking that, well, it's 10 o'clock at night, everything's going to be quiet. Well, it doesn't so much happen that way here in Mexico. And it seems like it's especially that way even on the weekends, on Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. So that's one thing. Now, something that we were told about when we moved here was that the internet was slow. And I've heard that from a whole lot of folks. And when you're from the States, for the most part, you've got great internet speed. You've got 50 megs, you've got 100 megs. Where downloading a movie is no big deal. Getting on YouTube and being able to watch a video isn't a big deal. But here in Mexico, the speeds, because it is different technology, it's older technology, it can be slower. Now, we're grateful because we've got a faster internet, but I still talk to expats today that still deal with slow internet speed. And I just want you to know, if you come, that might be something you really want to look into. And I mentioned that in regards to the looking for rentals here in Mexico and here at Lake Chapala to make sure that you've got fast speed. If that's important to you, if you work from home, because if you don't, you could get here, rent a place and find out it's real slow, and that's going to be a real culture shock for you. Let's talk about the food. Now, again, being raised in the States, I was raised in Southern California. I was raised on Mexican food. Most recently, my wife and I, I was raised somewhat also in New Mexico, where there's New Mexican food. Some are from Texas, where it's Tex-Mex, and some different variations around the country. I love Mexican food. When you get to Mexico, there's some things you've got to really understand and be ready for. For one, if you've had Mexican food in the States, it's different here. It's different. They make things differently. The sauces are different. Their chilies are different here. They've got some really spicy food here. And there's some real different tastes. Part of culture shock was I had to either be willing to be a little adapting to the taste of Mexico and embrace it. So in fact, I could still enjoy the experience of being here. And because we've now been here almost 5 months, I found some places and some foods that we like eating, that I like eating, that is Mexican food from Mexico. So if you really like Mexican food, I would just say the taste is here different, but I could still say you could still enjoy it just the same. It's great food. Something else about the Mexican food here, and that is, it's real customary to see off onto the sides of the road taco stands. Literally pop-up tents, and they've got these, buckets, or they got these baskets of things that kind of look like those that you would have for ice cream carts. And they've got different types of makings for tacos. Or they've got, bench seats set up, and they're all over the place. Now, I've not gotten any of the tacos from off the side of the road, but it's amazing to see how many of there are, and also how many people are actually at these taco stands and they're eating. Now, being from the States and being an expat, I've kind of been shared with that you want to kind of be careful about that because there's flies and you don't know how clean the items are, and there's some things, precautionary measures that you might want to take. But I've heard also from those folks that it's great food. They really love it. Another thing here that's fresh, that's in Mexico, and that is fresh fruit and vegetables. Now, you still want to make sure you clean them, but it's amazing how abundant they really are here. So when it comes to the culture shock of the Mexican food, just realize that you're going to see a lot of these stands and such and people around them eating, and that's the Mexico way. That's the way that they do some things here in Mexico. Another thing that's interesting, that is that I'm one of those individuals that likes to be on time, if not be a bit early. Now, in Mexico, we've kind of learned that you're never late. It's one of those kind of things where you'll find that if you're meeting with folks and they're from the States, okay, you'll be getting together at the right times. But there's then folks that you interact with that are from Mexico, they're from here, Lake Chapala, and realizing that, well, if it says 6 o'clock, it might not be right at 6 o'clock. As a matter of fact, if they ever share this with you, if you're talking to someone trying to get help or whatever it may be, and they give you this, that means in a little bit. That means give me a little bit of time. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It could be a half an hour. It could be an hour. I've literally waited a while for folks to say, okay, just give me a few minutes here and I'll get back with you. So that's something that is somewhat of a culture shock because you have to kind of get used to, if you're meeting with folks here in Mexico, realize that it's Mexico time here, kind of like the land of mañana. When we come from the States, we're humans, and we're humans of creatures of habit, and we're used to doing the things the way that we normally do them. But we're in Mexico, and we got to realize that if we're here, we have to embrace the things of Mexico and not really let them be such culture shocks, because they really can be. going in and trying to get pesos for your dollar bills from the States. That can somewhat be frustrating in the beginning. And that can also be a real culture shock. Trying to understand that, there's 20 pesos per one US dollar. So if something that you see at Walmart or whatever it might be is 700 pesos, well, 700 pesos, how many dollars is that? So it takes a little bit of getting used to making those equivalents and really trying to get the numbers correct and understand that. So the monetary part and the money part of Mexico can be one of those things too when you're trying to make change and tips and those kind of things. Now, something I want to warn you of that can also be a culture shock, and that is, why are you living here, or why are you looking to move here? And if you're only coming for cheap, if you're only coming for economic reasons, you're probably going to have a pretty tough time. And you'll probably get frustrated. And you're going to have to really be patient. Be patient. Again, this is a different country. And for a lot of us, and it's been for us, we've had to deal with this too, and that is, it's a culture shock because it is a different country. You've got to get used to. And the reason you'll have a tough time is because that, okay, so you're here because things are less expensive. But what if you don't understand why they're less expensive? Or if you're here and you're not really looking for an adventure, it's going to be difficult for you. So why are you here? Are you here for such as looking at a different country to live in, for the fun or for the adventure of it? Learning to embrace the culture. You want to embrace the culture while you're here. How about when it comes to learning the language? I'm learning language. Now, in the States, I could say taco and burrito and tostada and the good stuff, enchiladas. But when it comes to speaking Spanish here and maybe asking directions and donde vas and where you're going and siéntese and have a seat and learn some of the things that will be helpful for you when it comes to Spanish, that will be really, really important. How about learning the history about Mexico? There's an amazing history here at Lakeside, at Lake Chapala, in Ajijic and Chapala, and how they came to being, and the meaning of the carretera even, and in regards to also the Malecon and the lake, and all the story and the history and the art, the music that goes and is a part of the culture of Mexico. Here's another thing. If you don't make new friends, it's going to be a culture shock. You want to make sure that, again, that you're embracing the people that are here. The Mexican people are wonderful. They're wonderful. And you just have to get to know them. It'd be like them coming to the States. It's a different pace of life. They would have culture shock also. So we're here, it's more laid back. We have to relax. We can't. Being here and going 90 miles an hour isn't really going to work because you're going to get frustrated again. You got to be patient because things here just don't go fast. Now, for me, I'm more of a fast kind of guy. And so when it comes to having to put the brakes on and slow down a little bit, that's a little bit more difficult for me. But it's something that I'm getting used to doing. When you come for these reasons, as I've mentioned, for the culture, for the adventure, for the history, yes, you can come for things being less expensive and also for the economic reasons. Only then will you be here for the right reasons. It's taking all of it into account, and it's realizing that each day that you wake up, it's a new day of life. You get to learn something new. It might be a new word. It might be making a new friend. It might be learning something about the lake or about the surroundings. So I just want you to know that when you get here, don't be surprised if you find out some of these and maybe even more things that are culture shock to you. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope it's given you some insight and some more information, but beneficial, and maybe answer some of the questions that you didn't ask but had answers to. And I just want to share with you, this is an incredible, incredible place. And because of that, and us covering Lake Chapala specifically, we offer that within our YouTube channel. I'd like to encourage you, if you haven't already, to subscribe, because our videos come out and that's exactly what we're talking about, is the life here in Mexico, being around Lake Chapala, Ajijic, and Chapala. So don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to make a comment about anything I've shared with you or any questions you might have, I'd love to be able to reach back out to you and answer any questions you might have. Or if you'd like to see a video on a certain subject, let me know and let us know about that also. You're not going to want to miss any of our upcoming videos, so make sure that you hit that bell so you'll be immediately notified when our next video comes out. And give us a thumbs up. It really helps with YouTube because it helps other folks that are looking for videos about Lake Chapala to be able to find those of our videos that actually specifically speak to that point. I sure appreciate you being here on this video. I really do. Thank you so much. And as always, have an awesome day. And we'll see you on the next video.